The concept of wealth is often misunderstood. In the modern world, it is measured by numbers in a bank account, luxury cars, or the size of one's house. People chase after it relentlessly, believing that financial success will finally bring them peace, happiness, and security. But why is it that even those who accumulate vast fortunes often feel empty, restless, or even more anxious than before? Why do some who have little seem more content than those who have everything? Buddhism offers a different perspective, one that challenges our traditional notions of wealth and invites us to see prosperity through an entirely new lens. At its core, wealth in Buddhism is not about possessions, but about a state of mind. It's about how we relate to what we have and what we don't. This shift in perception changes everything. Imagine a man who wins the lottery. Overnight, he has millions. But because he has spent his entire life in a scarcity mindset, constantly fearing loss, never feeling like he has enough, his new fortune only amplifies his fears. He begins to worry about theft, about investments, about taxes. He hoards his money, isolates himself from those around him, and in the end, despite his massive wealth, he is miserable. Now consider a monk living in a modest monastery. He owns nothing but his robe and his bowl. Yet he wakes up every morning with a profound sense of gratitude, peace, and fulfillment. His wealth is internal, unshakable, and independent of external circumstances. This is not to say that one must live in poverty to be spiritually rich. Far from it. The message is that true wealth is found in our relationship with money, not in the money itself. Wealth can be a source of freedom or a prison, depending on how we engage with it. This is where the Buddhist principle of impermanence comes in. Everything in life is in constant flux, money included. The moment we grasp onto it too tightly, we suffer. Take, for example, a business owner who experiences success. At first, there is excitement, a sense of accomplishment. But then a fear creeps in, the fear of losing what was gained. Markets fluctuate, competition rises, and suddenly, instead of enjoying his success, he becomes obsessed with maintaining or increasing it. He no longer sleeps well. He is constantly anxious about the next move. His financial wealth has grown, but his mental and emotional wealth have shrunk. The Buddhist approach teaches that wealth should flow like a river, not be hoarded like a stagnant pool of water. Money, like all things, must be in motion. It must be used wisely, shared generously, and never be the sole measure of one's worth. One of the most powerful Buddhist teachings on wealth comes from the story of King Pasenadi of Kosala. The king was a devoted follower of the Buddha, but he struggled with attachment to his riches. One day he approached the Buddha, lamenting that despite his vast kingdom and abundant resources, he still felt restless and dissatisfied. The Buddha responded with a simple question. "King, if a man were drowning and you threw him a golden chain instead of a rope, would it save him?" The king hesitated and then admitted, "No, the gold would only weigh him down further." The Buddha smiled and said, "Then why do you believe gold will save you from your suffering?" This struck the king deeply. He realized that while wealth could provide comfort, it could never replace inner peace. So how does one cultivate true wealth? The answer lies in contentment, generosity, and mindfulness. The Buddha often spoke of santuti, the art of contentment, not the kind that leads to laziness, but the deep, abiding peace that comes from appreciating what one has rather than obsessing over what one lacks. It is the ability to enjoy wealth without being enslaved by it. A person who understands this does not reject money, but uses it with wisdom. They invest in their well-being, support their family, contribute to their community, and use their financial resources as a tool for growth rather than a source of stress. Generosity, or dana, is another cornerstone of Buddhist wealth. The paradox of giving is that the more one gives, the wealthier one feels. This is because generosity shifts the mindset from scarcity to abundance. When we cling to money, fearing its loss, we create a mental environment of lack. But when we give, whether it is through charity, acts of kindness, or simply sharing knowledge, we reinforce the belief that we already have enough. Studies even show that people who give regularly experience lower stress levels and greater overall happiness. Ancient Buddhist traders and merchants understood this well. They didn't hoard wealth out of fear. Instead, they used their riches to support temples, communities, and the less fortunate, believing that prosperity was meant to be circulated, not clutched. Mindfulness, the ability to be fully present, also plays a critical role. Many people chase wealth blindly, never stopping to question why they want more money. Is it truly for security, freedom, or is it an attempt to fill an emotional void? The Buddha taught that before pursuing wealth, one must first understand one's own motivations. Otherwise, wealth becomes a never-ending pursuit, one that never satisfies. Mindfulness allows us to make financial decisions that align with our deeper values rather than being driven by impulse, comparison, or fear. Understanding wealth in this way does not mean abandoning ambition or success. Quite the opposite. It means redefining what success truly is. Imagine a person who is financially prosperous, yet they wake up each morning with gratitude rather than stress. They see money as a tool rather than an identity. They experience joy in both earning and giving. They live with freedom rather than fear. This is true wealth. But how do we get there? What practical steps can we take to shift our mindset and bring more balance to our relationship with money? There is a paradox in the pursuit of wealth. The harder we cling to money, the more it seems to slip through our fingers. Fear of loss, obsession with accumulation, and the endless chase for more create a mental and emotional prison. Buddhism teaches a revolutionary idea. True prosperity comes not from grasping, but from letting go. This may sound counterintuitive at first. How can releasing attachment lead to financial success? How can embracing impermanence result in stability? The answer lies in the profound wisdom of the Buddhist approach to wealth. Money, like all things in life, must flow. Imagine a person holding onto a handful of sand. The tighter they squeeze, the more it slips away. But if they hold it gently with an open palm, the sand remains. This is how money works. When we are desperate to hold on to it, fearing loss or failure, we create resistance. We stop taking healthy risks. We hoard instead of investing, and we allow stress to cloud our judgment. But when we trust the natural flow of wealth, earning, giving, receiving, we allow prosperity to move through our lives freely, without fear or scarcity. The Buddha often spoke about the dangers of attachment, and money is one of the greatest attachments of all. People cling to it because they believe it provides security. But does it? A millionaire who constantly fears losing his fortune is no richer in peace than a beggar who worries about his next meal. Both suffer from the same disease, attachment. The difference is in the mind, not the bank balance. True security comes not from money itself, but from the ability to navigate life with trust and wisdom, regardless of financial circumstances. One of the most fascinating examples of this principle comes from the life of Prince Siddhartha himself, who later became the Buddha. Born into immense wealth, he had every material comfort imaginable. Yet, he felt deeply unsatisfied, sensing that material riches could never provide the lasting peace he sought. In a dramatic act of renunciation, he left his palace, his gold, his luxurious life, and stepped into the unknown with nothing but a simple robe. This was not an act of rejection, but of understanding. He realized that freedom comes from detachment, not possession. While most of us do not need to abandon everything as Siddhartha did, his story illustrates a powerful truth. When we release our grip on wealth, we gain something far greater: peace, clarity, and true freedom. This does not mean that wealth is bad or that we should not seek financial success. On the contrary, money can be a powerful tool for good. The key difference is whether we control our wealth or allow it to control us. Buddhism teaches that prosperity comes when we approach money with a mindset of generosity, openness, and trust rather than fear and hoarding. One of the most transformative Buddhist practices in relation to money is dana, selfless giving. In many Buddhist cultures, it is common to see people offering food to monks, supporting temples, or helping those in need. This is not done out of obligation, but because of a deep understanding of the law of flow. When you give, you open the door to receiving. In modern psychology, this concept is well documented. People who give to others experience greater happiness, reduced stress, and even better health. Generosity rewires the brain from scarcity to abundance, reinforcing the idea that we have enough, that we are enough, and that wealth is something to be shared, not feared. A great example of this principle in action comes from a Buddhist merchant in ancient China. Known for his generosity, he never hesitated to share his profits with those in need. His competitors, however, were driven by greed, hoarding their wealth and fearing loss. Over the years, The merchant's kindness built strong relationships, trust, and a loyal community. While others lived in stress and paranoia, he thrived, not just financially, but emotionally and spiritually. His wealth continued to grow, but it never owned him. Instead, he became a master of wealth, using it wisely and without attachment. The idea of non-attachment to money does not mean recklessness. It does not mean spending without thought or failing to plan for the future. Instead, it means shifting from a mindset of fear to one of trust. It means knowing that money is a tool, not an identity. It is a servant, not a master. When we are not controlled by the fear of losing money, we make wiser financial decisions. We invest in what truly matters: experiences, relationships, meaningful work, rather than chasing empty status symbols. Mindfulness plays a crucial role in this transformation. Many people spend money unconsciously, using it as a way to escape discomfort, buying things they don't need to fill emotional voids. But mindfulness teaches us to be present with our financial choices. Before making a purchase, we can ask, is this truly necessary? Does this add value to my life? Am I buying this out of fear, insecurity, or social pressure? This simple practice can radically shift how we relate to money. Another powerful technique is trusting the natural cycles of wealth. In nature, everything moves in cycles. Seasons change, tides rise and fall, the moon waxes and wanes. Wealth operates in the same way. There will be times of abundance and times of challenge. Those who panic in financial downturns often make rash decisions, while those who understand impermanence remain steady. They know that money, like all things, comes and goes, and that security is found not in holding on, but in adapting, learning, and staying open to new opportunities. The fear of losing money often stems from a deeper fear of uncertainty. We believe that if we have enough wealth, we can control the future, but this is an illusion. No amount of money can protect us from every challenge in life. What truly protects us is inner resilience, the ability to navigate change with wisdom and grace. When we understand this, we no longer see money as a shield against the unknown, but as a resource to be used wisely in the present moment. At its deepest level, the Buddhist approach to prosperity teaches us that our true wealth is not in what we own, but in how we experience life. A person who appreciates a simple meal with gratitude is richer than someone who dines on luxury, but feels numb inside. A person who shares what they have, no matter how little, is wealthier in spirit than someone who hoards out of fear. True prosperity is not about the size of our bank accounts, but about our ability to live with freedom, generosity, and trust. And so, we return to the paradox. When we let go, we receive more. When we stop clinging, we make space for something greater. But what happens next? How do our financial decisions and ethical choices shape our future? The answer lies in an even deeper principle: karma and wealth. Money doesn't just appear or disappear randomly. Every financial situation, whether one of abundance or struggle, is the result of choices. Some made consciously, others shaped by deeper patterns that often go unnoticed. In Buddhism, this principle is known as karma. While many misunderstand karma as a form of cosmic punishment or reward, its true meaning is much simpler and far more profound. Karma is cause and effect. Every action, every decision, every financial choice plants a seed. Some seeds grow into prosperity, stability, and fulfillment. Others create stress, loss, or cycles of scarcity. Understanding this karma of wealth is the key to transforming one's financial life, not through luck or external forces, but through conscious, ethical, and intentional action. Imagine two business owners. One is deeply rooted in ethical practices, treating employees with respect, paying fair wages, and ensuring that every transaction benefits both sides. The other cuts corners, exploits loopholes, and focuses solely on maximizing profit, regardless of the consequences. At first glance, the second business may seem more successful. His profits rise quickly, and he gains wealth faster. But over time, the karma of his choices begins to unfold. Employees leave, trust erodes, and customers sense the lack of integrity in his work. His business becomes unstable, his relationships suffer, and eventually, his financial success crumbles. Meanwhile, the first business owner may experience slower growth, but his foundation is unshakable. His reputation strengthens, loyalty grows, and over time his prosperity becomes something lasting, not just in financial terms, but in the deep fulfillment that comes from knowing his success is built on honesty and service. This is the power of karma in finance. It reminds us that every choice matters, even those that seem small or insignificant. The way we handle money, how we earn it, how we spend it, how we share it, shapes not only our financial future but also our emotional and spiritual well-being. When wealth is gained through ethical means, it carries a different energy. It brings peace instead of stress, confidence instead of fear. But when money is acquired through greed, deceit, or harm to others, it becomes a source of constant anxiety, paranoia, and ultimately, loss. There is a Buddhist saying, "A person who steals honey will taste sweetness at first, but soon feel the sting of the bees." Many people chase financial shortcuts, believing that bending the rules or prioritizing profit over principles will lead to success. And sometimes it does, temporarily. But karma is patient. Every dishonest gain eventually demands a cost. Some may experience financial collapse, while others may appear outwardly wealthy but live in inner turmoil, disconnected from true happiness. This is why many wealthy individuals who accumulate fortunes unethically still feel an unshakable emptiness. They have the numbers in their bank accounts, but they lack peace of mind. On the other hand, those who create wealth through honest, mindful effort often experience a deeper form of abundance, one that extends beyond money itself. Think of someone who invests in their community, creates value and uplifts others in the process. Their prosperity isn't just financial, it's relational, emotional, and even spiritual. They sleep well at night. They feel a sense of purpose in their work. Their wealth becomes something that expands rather than isolates. A powerful example of karmic wealth comes from an ancient Buddhist story about a man named Javaka. Javaka was a physician in ancient India, known for his extraordinary skill in healing others. Instead of charging excessive fees, he treated patients according to their ability to pay, sometimes for free if they were poor. His fame spread across the land, and instead of struggling financially, he became one of the most respected and prosperous doctors of his time. His generosity did not deplete his wealth, it multiplied it. Because he gave with an open heart, opportunities, gifts, and success naturally flowed back to him. His wealth was a reflection of the positive karma he cultivated through his actions. This lesson applies today as much as it did in ancient times. Many believe that the key to wealth is ruthless ambition, but those who build lasting prosperity often share a different trait, a commitment to creating value. Whether in business, relationships, or investments, those who prioritize long-term impact over short-term gain find that wealth follows them, not as a stroke of luck, but as the natural consequence of the seeds they have sown. Karma also teaches us about the importance of conscious spending. Every dollar spent is a vote for the kind of world we want to create. When we support ethical businesses, invest in companies that treat their workers well, and avoid industries that exploit others, we are not just making financial decisions, we are shaping the future. Likewise, when we engage in reckless spending, chasing temporary gratification, or allowing money to control our emotions, we create instability, not just in our own lives, but in the economy as a whole. Mindful consumption, therefore, is a form of financial karma. Perhaps one of the most intriguing aspects of financial karma is that it is never too late to change course. Unlike fate, which is fixed, karma is fluid. If someone has made poor financial choices in the past, they are not doomed to suffer forever. By making new choices, ones rooted in mindfulness, generosity, and ethical action, they can shift their financial trajectory. The past does not define the future. What matters is the intentional action taken in the present. There is a Japanese tradition called kaizen, which means continuous improvement. This principle aligns beautifully with Buddhist karma. Instead of viewing financial success as something achieved overnight, kaizen encourages small daily improvements that accumulate over time. Whether it's saving a little each month, learning about ethical investing, or shifting spending habits to align with values, each positive step creates momentum. Karma works the same way. One good choice leads to another, until eventually wealth is built on a foundation of integrity and wisdom. Understanding this shifts everything. Money is no longer something to be feared or chased blindly. It becomes a reflection of our choices, our values, and our mindset. A person who understands financial karma is not desperate for shortcuts. They do not seek to gain at the expense of others. Instead, they approach wealth with clarity, knowing that true success is measured not just in numbers but in the peace, stability, and impact created along the way. But what happens when wealth and spirituality seem to be in conflict? How do we balance material success with inner peace? If money is neither good nor bad, how do we ensure that it remains a tool for freedom rather than a source of suffering? The answer lies in finding the middle path, the perfect balance between financial ambition and spiritual fulfillment. In a world that often tells us that success is measured by wealth alone, it's easy to fall into extremes. Some believe that money is the ultimate goal, sacrificing everything, health, relationships, inner peace to chase financial success. Others reject money entirely, thinking that true spirituality means abandoning material desires. But Buddhism offers a different path, the middle way, a balance between material wealth and spiritual well-being. It teaches that prosperity and inner peace are not opposing forces, but two sides of the same coin. The key is to cultivate a healthy relationship with money, where it serves you rather than enslaves you. Think about a tightrope walker. If they lean too far to one side, they fall. If they overcompensate in the other direction, they fall again. Their only way forward is balance. The same is true with money. If we become obsessed with accumulating wealth, we lose sight of what truly matters. But if we ignore financial well-being completely, we struggle to survive and cannot help others. The middle way teaches us to use money wisely, with awareness and purpose, so that it supports our goals rather than controls them. One of the biggest misunderstandings about Buddhism is the idea that it promotes poverty. But the Buddha never condemned wealth. He only warned against attachment to it. He himself was born into royalty, surrounded by unimaginable luxury. Many of his closest disciples were successful merchants and rulers. What he taught was mindfulness in wealth, that money should be earned ethically, spent wisely, and shared generously. He understood that financial stability allows people to practice spirituality without constant worry. A person drowning in debt or struggling to meet basic needs will find it difficult to focus on meditation, wisdom, or generosity. Therefore, wealth is not the problem. Attachment and greed are. A perfect example of this balance comes from the story of Anathapindika, one of the Buddha's greatest patrons. He was a wealthy merchant, but instead of hoarding his fortune, he used it to support Buddhist monasteries, help the poor, and improve his community. Despite his vast riches, he was deeply spiritual, generous, and free from greed. His wealth did not corrupt him because he understood that money was simply a tool for good, not a source of identity. But how can we apply the middle way to our own lives? How do we ensure that we thrive financially while staying spiritually grounded? The answer lies in three essential principles: awareness, intention, and discipline. First, awareness means understanding our relationship with money. Do we spend impulsively? Do we fear losing what we have? Do we use money to fill emotional voids? Mindfulness allows us to see these patterns clearly. It helps us make conscious financial decisions rather than being driven by unconscious habits or societal pressures. Second, intention means having a clear purpose for wealth. Why do you want money? Is it just for status and luxury, or is it to create freedom, security, and the ability to help others? The middle way teaches us that money should serve our higher values, whether that means taking care of family, funding a meaningful project, or contributing to a greater cause. When wealth is tied to purpose, it becomes a force for good. Third, discipline is what keeps us on track. Financial success requires patience, wise investment, and self-control. The Buddhist concept of right effort teaches that we must act consistently, avoiding both laziness and reckless ambition. Whether it's saving, budgeting, or investing, discipline ensures that our financial choices align with long-term well-being rather than short-term gratification. When we practice these three principles, we begin to see money differently. It no longer becomes a source of stress or greed, but a tool that enhances our life and allows us to uplift those around us. This is true financial freedom, the ability to have money without being consumed by it. Now, as we reach the end of this journey, take a moment to reflect. What does wealth mean to you? Is it just numbers on a screen, or is it something deeper? Freedom, security, peace of mind. The middle way reminds us that we don't have to choose between material success and spiritual fulfillment. We can have both. We can be rich in money and rich in wisdom. And now I want to hear from you. If you're ready to embrace both financial success and inner peace, comment below. I want to be rich. Let the universe know that you are open to prosperity in all forms: money, wisdom, happiness, and peace. If this video resonated with you, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and share this with someone who needs to hear this message. The more we spread this wisdom, the more people can break free from financial stress and step into true abundance. Thank you for being here, and remember, wealth is not just about what you have, it's about how you live. See you in the next video.